So good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Elliot Bauer. I'm the founder of Prose. In essence, Prose is a virtual tutor for law students. Specifically, we help law students write better bar essays so that they can pass the bar exam. So the 3-year cost of attendance at UC Davis Law, including room and board, is $210,000 for the 3 years. The average law student in the US graduates with about $140,000 in educational debt, and they spend between $2,000 and $5,000 on the bar exam, preparing for the bar exam just in materials. Yet in California, less than half of them pass. And last July, the pass rate was 42.7%. In other words, 60% of the law students in California bought a Ferrari without a driver's license. But that's not all. The situation is actually pretty precarious for law students as well, because they risk losing their accreditation. The ABA, or the American Bar Association, which is the organization that accredits law schools, has been debating a requirement that law schools maintain a 75% pass rate on the bar. In California, less than a quarter of the ABA accredited law schools would meet that requirement currently. So with a big picture problem in mind, the pressures on law students, the next logical question is, why focus on writing? And to explain that, I want you to think of law school as a culinary school that teaches its students many, many recipes without teaching them how to cook. The bar exam is a cooking test, so we teach them how to cook. And what that means is we need to bridge the gap between their knowledge and their performance on the bar. So on Prose, students write practice essays on our app and submit them, and we analyze those with an algorithm and provide them feedback that's personalized to their writing. We use a unique visual system that makes the content of the essay pop, and we also use model answers that help to teach by example. So here's an example of what that feedback looks like, so you can visualize it better. The takeaway from this slide is really we give feedback on every key area of writing that the student would need to know in order to improve. So as I mentioned, students spend between $2,000 and $5,000 on bar prep materials, and there are about 80,000 nationally, so that's roughly 240 million spent every year on bar prep materials. There are about 13,000 students that take the bar annually in California and 80,000 nationally. And so we are focused on California right now and plan to expand later. So we sell directly, we sell a season pass for the bar prep season, which is 2 to 3 months for access to our web app during that time. And we also are looking to partner with schools to sell bulk licenses for their students. And in the future, we're going to build out an administrative panel that can dive into some of the data that law schools have not had access to before about their students' writing. So in terms of competition, there are 3 main companies that help prepare students for the bar. Their courses are between $2,000 and $4,000. And they actually don't give that much practice feedback. So it's about 7 essays that they'll grade. We do 45. And they give very limited feedback, whereas we are very in-depth. There are other supplemental products out there, nothing quite like Prose. And then there are independent tutors who are restricted locally and can only help a few students. So our site is live. We did sort of a beta test for the February bar, and we're getting ready. We're getting ready for the July bar season, which is coming up. So I founded this company along with my co-founder, who could not be here today, and he is the subject matter expert, I suppose, on the California bar and also on the uniform bar exam, which is the bar exam that's used in 28 other states. And he's the director of academic success at UC Davis School of Law. So he helps students prepare for the bar there. And this is a sort of side job for me right now, but I'm also an attorney. So really today I'd just like to get feedback from the community and meet other entrepreneurs. I haven't been to a 1 Million Cups event, so I'm very excited to talk with everyone and see what types of questions you have.
All right, thank you, Elliot. Good job. Is this your first presentation of Bar Prose?
So I presented Bar Prose to students. I was actually down at Southwestern School. That's a very different type of presentation. So that was a 1 hour, effectively lecture on how to write a bar essay.
Oh, okay.
It's a sales pitch, but we also give valuable information about what they need to do. So this is the first short, quick pitch to non-attorneys.
Well, I think you did very well.
Thank you.
So what can the community do for you? That's what we'd like to ask.
I think really any feedback that I can get, and if I can meet with people and just discuss problems that they're starting to facing, maybe how they solved it, I think we can find common ground. And so I can continue.
Do you need any more law students to talk to verify
If anyone knows law students, I am happy to talk to them, and not only about this product, but I will talk to anyone about resources for the bar. So I would take referrals, yeah.
So one last question for me. How many times did you take the bar?
I took the bar twice.
So you have good experience with that?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so now I'd like to open it up to general questions.
I have a question about the bar exam itself.
Yes.
Is each state require an essay? Or it seems like the questions that they would ask on a bar exam requires an essay for each question? Or is there a separate essay plus multiple choice answers? What is the structure of the bar exam normally?
It's a great question, and it varies state by state. In California, actually this July, they've switched to a new format. So the new format is 2 days. I took a 3-day bar exam. You write 5 one-hour essays on the first day, and a 1.5 hour what they call practical test, where they give you, the essays, they give you a story, and you essentially spot legal issues. The practical test, they give you a set of materials, and you write a legal document. The second day of the bar is multiple choice questions. So about 70% of the writing day on the California bar is those essays in terms of points. In other states, it varies state by state, but 28 states use what's called the uniform bar exam, which is a modular standardized test. And those essays, I believe, are a half hour, but they are still the same concepts that would be used in California. The law changes a little, but the structure and critical areas of writing is the same.
I didn't hear you. I know you talked about the competition, and they typically charge between $2,000 and $4,000. Is there a charge to download the app, or?
So we sell a season pass. Currently, we sell for $220, and the reason that we are much lower than that $2,000 to $4,000 figure is we fall under the supplemental category. For example, there's another company called Adaptabar that handles the multiple choice question section of the bar, and they give you multiple choice questions and provide explanations of the answers, and they're around, I think they're just under $400. And so it's not the full course, because those full lecture courses give you books and actual 3-hour lectures, but they don't actually have you practice on the bar. Like I said, it's 7 essays. Oftentimes the feedback that they'll give, I remember I had one, I got it back, they give you a numerical score, and they'll say something like, use more facts. And use more facts is not. That doesn't help you write a better bar essay, But what we do is we say, these are the facts that a model essay used, the top essays used in their analysis. And these are the facts that you used. So we suggest, you know, and then here's a passage from that model essay right next to yours so you can see what you need to do to improve it. So it's much more in-depth.
Gotcha, great.
So is there an algorithm that helps you analyze the essay that tells you, that matches the facts to the actual case that they're writing on?
Yeah, so we have a machine learning algorithm that analyzes the writing.
How many times does a student take the bar test? What's the average?
You know, I'm not sure the average, it's more than one. It depends on what type of school usually that student went to. So I would say if you're, as I said, the pass rate is 42.7%. If you look only at the nationally accredited law schools, and there's a different, in California there's 21 nationally accredited law schools, but there's, I believe, 64 law schools total that are local schools. Their students tend to fail the bar at higher rates. So they probably would be your 4-time bar takers. Most of the ABA accredited students, if they don't pass in the first time, they pass in the second.
How many students have signed up?
Well, we just started marketing. So in February, we had like 3 that we knew of. There was one that just found our site, but we just got a little feedback from them because we wanted to make sure, you know, we were ready to have more students. But there's a very small window to actually market the supplement. It starts now, but law students are in finals, and bar prep starts around May 15th. So it's a small window.
So how are you marketing?
So we have a few programs. We just started with some social media advertising, but I think our the biggest way that we're going to get more users is through a referral program. So if students sign up, they can actually get paid $25 to refer a friend, and we take $25 off of that person's subscription cost. And that sounds like a lot, but that's actually pretty standard. We're following the model that I mentioned, the company Adaptivar. They did that as well. And part of it is that we're really selling to these sort of insular markets. I mean, at a law school, you might have 5 potential customers sitting at a desk, so the most effective way to reach them is to find one that is really into the app and have them sell it to their friends. I don't think other companies have had success with social media. Yeah.
So some ideas for you. First, with social media, I would suggest looking at Facebook advertising, where you can target it directly to law students and even within a specific geographic area. And if you guys don't have that expertise, there's a lot of digital marketers out there. The other thing is Google AdWords would be something possibly to look at, although your keywords might be expensive or somebody else might be using them. And then the third thing I would recommend is to find some influential bloggers who, I don't know, write blogs about law students and ask them to review your product and do a blog about it. Those would be some suggestions I have that are fairly low-cost marketing ideas.
That's great, yeah, and we have started to get coverage on some of those blogs, and actually they typically want one of their essays reviewed that they have, and had one submit last night. So we have a few in the works.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you.
Piggybacking on that, not only influencers who write blogs, but on other social media like Twitter or Facebook, other attorneys or whatever are influencers who could kind of partner up with you or give them some kind of a discount, some kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And so influencer tell them.
Even like you're doing the $25 off if you refer whatever. There's some people who don't need your service, but they could promote it because of their status is giving them kind of what we call an affiliate link, that if somebody uses their link, then maybe they get a little cashola.
Yeah.
That means money, in case you guys. We got some good marketing people in here too, though.
Did you build the technology or did you outsource the technology?
No, I did build it, although I would like to move away from doing that. My day job is an attorney, not a software engineer, so I know how to do it. But Yeah.
Other questions?
Are you fundraising?
No. In part because I think this would require a very special partner. But if we accept a slower growth rate, which again, the model for a supplemental bar prep company is typically, it's pretty slow, in part because these communities are so hard to reach. We don't need the funding. We can fund ourselves.
Sorry, one more question. Have you considered going to the professors or teachers and getting them to then tell their students that they need to submit their essays via your app?
Yes, so we actually just submitted a proposal for a year-round course. So one of the other, I guess, not problems, but sort of critical areas of this business is it's seasonal, right? So it's the February and July bar times. So we would like to partner with schools to do a year-round course, and they are increasingly doing these types of courses that is a semester or a full year of the third year of law school, where they submit, they do multiple choice questions or they do practice essays. And this actually solves one of the main concerns of professors who don't really want to read their students' writing. They don't want to read 50 essays. I mean, so just for perspective, it takes an hour to write. These are between 1,500 and 2,000 words, so that's about 4 pages. So you could imagine if you had a class of 50 writing an essay every week, it's too much work for one person. And so that's where we come in. And it's also work that the professors they don't particularly enjoy. So.
Other questions?
Do you have to do like quality check?
Yes.
Or is it just the algorithm that spits out the feedback? Is it like, do you touch the product at all before it gets back to the students?
We do right now, and the goal is to move away and sort of do quality check every once in a while. But we don't have training data on every essay, so you need a good bit of training data before the algorithm can, really provide you an accurate result. So we have some annual review right now.
Yeah.
How do you know what questions they're going to ask, or do you?
So we actually use, for California, the bar publishes its past essay questions. And so we use those past essay questions along with model answers that the bar publishes as practice. We don't write our own questions. And in a lot of ways, I think that is better than writing your own. Some companies will provide those, but they tend to not flow like the bar questions do. And so we just use something that's actually been on the bar exam.
So I think a really good marketing piece of data for you would be the people who use your system, what their pass rate is on the bar. But you might have to invite a bunch of people to do it without having to pay, maybe pay a little bit, something much lower. But that would be kind of an initial investment that you would be making in your company to come up with some really great statistics, hopefully, right? That might encourage other people to use your system. Since you don't need money right now, that might be a great way to...
And I do really like that idea. We're exploring it right now. There's another of the major prep companies, Themis, they did that exact thing and it worked very well for them. And they did it by offering their course for free to the top portion of the class, which then sort of guarantees
twist the number
a higher pass
That's
rate.
a great
So
idea.
I like that idea.
All right, any more questions?
A suggestion I could think of is, if you need more data and you need more people to use your system, you could just offer it to classrooms, to professors, just tell them to try it out, test it out. You'll get free analytics, and at the same time, if they really like it, you'll get someone that will actually recommend it to other people. If you get a professor to tell his class, that's free media, free marketing video.
Yeah, I think I can work on that and
Either charge them nothing and get it, or charge them something small and it could be way cheaper than paying for Google Ads, because when you start niching it out, it starts getting really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Any last question? Okay.
Last question, better be a good one. We mentored a company called 281st And what they did was they wrote software that evaluated accounting reports. You know, like a company would do a 10K or something of that nature, and it would look for key phrases and key sentences and key issues in those documents. So it was looked at by a computer program. And it seems to me, if you could adopt that particular method to evaluate the essays that are done, where when you have a question, there are certain points that have to be accounted for, or responded to. And that 281st does a very good job on financials, but it could do it on legal issues also. Because I think really whether a person writes a good essay or not is whether they've identified all the key issues in there and how they propose to deal with them. Because for an attorney, you have to argue both points. So if that 281st technique could be adopted to legal essays to make sure that the person, you know, did it. Because writing style isn't the issue.